Hello again, family and friends. On these videos that I've been doing weekly since COVID started, I've been sharing with you some family information, as well as different trips that I've made over time. And I have worked my way now up to 1990. And I have a special video today about 1990. Now, children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren are a special blessing. Even the scripture says that children are a blessing from the Lord. And Diane and I have been blessed with 3 great children, Tim, Tanya, and Melinda. And they have produced for us now 11 grandchildren. Today at church, when we were on a Zoom church meeting this morning, one of the ladies there was exulting in the fact that her first great-grandchild has been born. And it made us realize there's still something to look forward to. And every generation seems to be a deeper blessing as the older you get, because you see those. In fact, one of the Proverbs says, "May you be blessed to see your children's children and their children." And so seeing multiple generations is a super blessing of being old. And that's one I want to share with you today, because 1990 brought us our first grandchild. After having 3 great kids, and they're growing up and going into the world and getting married and established in their different careers, in 1990, Tanya, our older daughter, provided for us our very first grandchild. And it was a special blessing for us. What a treat to have a baby around the house. And her name was Cassandra, that her mother named her. And Cassandra was a special kid because she got to live with us for about the first 7 years of her life. And therefore we had the joy of growing up with her in a sense of her youngest childhood. And it was special to have this little one after so many years of older kids around the house. And it was indeed special because she grew up, it seemed, way too quickly. We felt that way about our own children, and that's how time goes so fast. And the older you are, the more you realize how time goes so fast. But it wasn't long before she was walking around and entertaining everyone. She had a great sense of humor from the time she was a little child, and she kind of knew how to tickle people's funny bone. And she was great at that. When she was 2 years old, she already had been able to figure out how to do games on my computer. And she was attending daycare in those days because Tanya, her mom, was working at the Marriott Hotel there in Toronto airport area. And Cassie went to West Park Daycare in Mississauga, where we lived at the time. And she loved that. She couldn't wait to get there, to be with all the other kids. And she would want to stay right till the end of the day there. In fact, she even stayed and did in kindergarten at that school because she loved it so much in that place. Well, one day Diane saw her taking pages of some kind of printed material with her to daycare. And she asked her to see it. As she looked, and here they were, my faxes. You know, in those days, we were able to fax on our computers. And she had printed off a bunch of faxes that had either come to me or I had sent, one or the other. And she was just taking them off as maybe it was her show and tell project for the day, who knows what. But it was hilarious, and we really chuckled over that. She learned to ride a bike with me, but even before she rode a bike, she would love to ride on the back of my bike. And I had a baby seat on the back fender of the bike, and she would be strapped in with a little helmet, and we'd drive up to the park because she loved to go to the park. And as she began to talk, she coined the phrase that I would be called all my life by my grandchildren, and that was Papa. We always called my mom Nana, somehow Nana, but my dad was Grandpa. And so when she was learning to talk, we would say, "This is Grandpa." They would point at me and say, "Grandpa." And she couldn't say that. All she could say was Papa. And so Papa became my name from my grandchildren from the very beginning, starting with Cassandra. And so going to the park, she loved on the monkey bars. She was a strong kid. She could do, 2 years old, she could do the monkey bars right all the way across without any trouble at all. And then she learned to ride a bike of her own. And we would ride bikes up through Mississauga has parks in every community, and even some wooded areas where you can drive a bike on a path through the woods, which we did regularly. Well, time went way too fast with this child, and after some years, Tanya and Rudy moved to Long Island, New York State, just outside New York City. And Cassie went to school at a Christian school there in Long Island for a number of years. And then Rudy's job got him transferred to Stafford, Virginia. At least that's where they chose to live. He actually works in Washington, D.C. So in Stafford, Cassie finished her high school at Colonial Forge High School there and graduated. She always did well in school and was always very interested in things. Living in Mississauga, however, was where she came to know Jesus. Every Sunday she came with us to church from the time she was a baby. And then on one evening a week, I think it was even Sunday evenings, they had the Awana program for children at the church where we attended in Mississauga at City Center. And she went to Awana, and it was at Awana that she made the decision to give her life to Jesus. And then a few years later, as she got around, I believe it was like 8 or 9 years of age, Tanya wanted to be baptized. Rudy had already been baptized, and Tanya said that she would like to be baptized, and Cassie said, "I want to be baptized with Mommy." And so I had the joy in Mississauga of baptizing both Tanya and Cassandra on the same day. It was a very special treat. After high school, Cassie went to several universities. First one was New York University. She always loved the big city. And on her second year, which she did 2 years there, and at the end of that time, she did a semester in Italy. And just enjoyed international travel so much that from that point on, she wanted to come with me, and every time and anywhere I was able to go that she could join. She then went to University of Virginia to finish her undergrad degree, and then was able to get a job at Geico Insurance Company, where she works to this day as one of their managers. But the highlights for me have been the times we've been able to spend together, especially in international travel. She started by coming with me wherever I was going to go that she could go. She wanted especially to go to India. And on one trip, I was invited to India because the Open Doors India team were doing Standing Strong Through the Storm seminars, believe it or not, with children, because of the extreme pressures that former Hindu children are under from even their parents, the children who become Christians. They had 300 and some young children at this seminar in the western side of India. And Cassie really enjoyed being there with those kids. And they had giveaway gifts for each of them in a little backpack with a Bible and a hymn book and a bunch of other materials. These were kids probably in primary through end of elementary school age. And she was the one who was able to hand out this material to each of these kids as we concluded the seminar. Then we had a second seminar on the east side of India, in the Orissa area. And There they were high school kids, and she even enjoyed that even more because she got to sit with the girls and get to know many of these kids as well. Well, she came with me not only to India, but to China. And on the China trip, we were going into North Korea. And so she spent a week with our team and me in the country of North Korea, simply as tourists. We simply went as tourists. We took nothing to share, and we had no one to visit there because of security problems for that. But we were going to pray for the country. And the most ironic thing was, this is a video for another day later on, because this was in 2010. The ironic thing was that our tour guide was very impressed by the fact that I was honest with him and said, we just came to pray for your country. And we thought we'd stand around and pray quietly, privately, in different places we went. But everywhere we went as a group, he'd say, do you guys want to pray here? And we would publicly stand in a circle and we would pray out loud. And we had some incredible stories. So watch for that in an upcoming video. We went to, in 2015, we tracked the steps of Brother Andrew in his beginnings in Eastern Europe, starting in Poland, going into areas like Czechoslovakia, and now the Czech Republic and Slovakia, and through other parts of Poland and East Germany, and back into Holland. We made that trip together. We've also been to Cuba. And I cannot even list for you all the places that we've had an opportunity to visit. So grandchildren are indeed a special blessing. Well, there's another part of the story of her life that's happened most recently, and that is she met the man of her dreams, Paul Corbett, from Newfoundland, working in the United States as she is, and they were married in Quebec in the middle of winter on a cold, cold day, but a beautiful, beautiful setting and a beautiful wedding. And they live together in the Washington, D.C. area. And they have a little puppy, although she's not a puppy anymore. She's now getting up in age. But Charlie is their little black dog that goes with them everywhere they go and is very special in their lives. Soon I will share with you about all of our grandchildren, because every one of the 11 is worthy of an entire video, actually. Amazing kids that God has given our children. But we look forward to the day, like the lady at church this morning, when Diane and I can say, we have a new great-grandchild. And that will be even greater blessing because of our age and because of the blessings that our kids have been and our grandkids have been. So I thank Cassie for being that first grandchild. She had nothing to do with it except making the experience a really blessed one. And I still love to hear the voice say, hello, Papa, how are you doing?